racquetball actually, but I was definitely in high school. I was 16 probably. I went and played racquetball when I was like 35 or 37, and this guy did not take it easy on me for my first game. It was like my first serve. He served at me and he went like, he motored it at me, and he'd been playing for like an hour, so that he had the ball hot. We should have played with a cold ball, that's all. But still, anyway, like, oh, he was. I felt like the guy was a total goof after, but he didn't really say anything either. I don't know. Maybe he was. Maybe he didn't want to share the court with me or something. Like, did you have to rent it? I feel like it was free there. Who plays racquetball by themselves? Like, I don't know. But the guy wasn't very nice. I just needed like at 10 minutes, 20 minutes to get the ball in the center of my racket to get that feel back after 27 years of not playing. You know. Same thing happened to me. I played badminton, and these guys went super hard on me, and I actually got really upset, and I started hammering it. A couple times it went out and it whizzed by his ear. I was like, uh oh, am I getting kicked out of here like right away? Because it's like a yuppie club. Again, I would never go to. I don't. I swear, I was gonna go join, and then I think I went one day and everybody there was so yuppie, and nobody was bothering me, but I could see like people were making fun of other people like within like ear's distance. I'm like, you guys are all messed up, yo. It's just a weird place, man. I went by myself and I was gonna sign up, and this one guy, I recognized him from badminton from way back, and I couldn't believe it, right? And it was very upsetting. He ended up retiring or quitting, and like that club kind of went weird. But they were all older rich people, like 40, 50, and they sucked. All of them sucked at badminton too. Like my first game I beat them 15-9, and then I think I lost by like one or two. I didn't want to not play there, right? At first I was like, we're all gonna have fun here, right? And then it didn't work out like that, but I'm glad we did. It was so expensive anyway. It was like $1,000 or $800, and it was only for like, I was getting a deal. Well, so they said. I don't know what anybody pays really, but I didn't feel like it was that. I thought it was a lot of money, because I used to play badminton everywhere for free. Like everybody wanted me to play at their gyms or wherever. Like I brought people in. Like I made badminton fun wherever I played it. Right. I only paid at youth night, and I didn't care because it was like $3, and you got to play for 4 hours, and it supported a club, right? Like actually, it was my club and or other people's clubs, that after me, but so I didn't care. I always brought like 10 people with me, and we'd play for like an hour, and then we'd take off on a Friday night, and I made it fun. Like we'd hook up before, and we'd hook up during. Sometimes depended who was working. It was always like some goof. Sometimes it was like, let's get out of here. It was like may as well be sitting in a cop shop, I felt like, so we got out of there. But and I told the coach too, I said, you basically got the biggest losers working it right now. I said, like, I'm not even coming anymore. He kicked them off like in a day. The next day they were done. And I'm like, who do you want? I'm like, get any one of the people that play badminton here that are in grade 12, man, grade 11. All your favorite grade 12 or 11 students come. You got like the three biggest narcs in the school. Nobody likes them. They hate everybody. It was weird, man. They didn't have friends because they all wanted to be cops. Like, it's weird. I went to a school that was full of narcs, man. And not even like, I didn't even go to school really at one school, but like every school I ever heard of had narcs in it in Manitoba. Lots of them. We actually had cop shops inside our schools in Manitoba. So it's pretty bad. And again, those got taken out after because they started like doing like touching kids during high school. Like it's a messed up system we have. Kids had never even had anything on them. They were like, "Oh, we got to search you." It's just a weird. I lived in a time, and see the parents that put their kids in these high schools didn't even care, and if they did, then most of them didn't know the ongoings. Of course, a kid's not gonna come home and say, "Yo, this junior, like, whatever, cop touched my nards." Like, that's not something you want to start bragging about, right? No kid wants to be fondled. But yeah, that's the way I grew up, you know? I grew up in a weird time, man. Like I said, I grew up in the 80s. I can't imagine. I'm white, right? I can't imagine. Some of my friends weren't. Man, did they get it rough. Man, did they get it rough. You know? It's so bad. Man, did they get it rough. But some of my white friends, they got wicked, wicked beat up, man. Wicked beat up, underage beat up. I was beat up under. I don't want to get into all my. You know, I come from a different time. I'm gonna tell you over and over again. You got people nowadays, and all they do is complain about like the tiniest thing. You know. When I was a kid, people used to get beat with phone books in a cell. Like you're already locked up, probably knocked out with something because you can't remember half the stuff. So it doesn't make any sense, right? But let me tell you, this stuff happened. Now, it happens, but now it's going to happen to the lowest IQ and the dirtiest. So before, back in the day, they did it to every young kid that was, you know, even remotely involved with anyone who had a friend. It's just insane what was back in the day. One day when I make my movie, you know, or a series of movies, I'll go through a time that existed, you know, for each race of people. I have a friend who will tell a story, who I wish to come on the show and talk about this event, this night, exactly what happened. And I'll correct if no one's gonna lie. Like the story tells itself, and the story is horrible. You know, there's several of them. I'll tell one that day or on those days after. I'll cry, and it's heartbreaking. You know, but not now. There will be a time and a place for stuff like this. And it isn't, I'm not a pity party guy, by the way. I tell you, you don't know what tough is. I'll take a hat, like I could, you know, literally feel pain that you could never even fathom, and I would laugh it off. I would look at you and laugh it off. Because I grew up, you know, in a lifestyle that I basically used to like wrestling. You know, and I used to think that wrestling involved a finisher, you know, where you had to give up, you had to tap out. Like I grew up in a weird time, I'm telling you. Everything's weird. It's not a cool thing being a person from back in the day. Now people are, you have this thing where you couldn't find balance between don't beat your kid and don't baby your kid. You know, you couldn't find freaking balance of just feed your kid enough, don't overfeed your kid, right? You had this not find a balance of this is the way and all those others are awful, right? I mean, if you're overfeeding, you don't care about your kid. If you're underfeeding, you don't care about your kid. And in the middle is just a plate of spaghetti for dinner, right? With some fixins, a little side salad and a bun. Perfect. You know, and that cost you like 79 cents back in the 80s per plate. Fucking salad was they gave you salad, and bread was like 4 cents for a slice. Like, who cannot afford 14 cents for side salad for a 2, 3, 5-year-old and a slice of bread, whole grain seed bread? Come on, guys. But the alternative is these single pack lunches full of plastic and this and that. The plastic leaches into you. I'm good, bro. I'm good. So remember, you have choices, and everybody should choose wisely, right? Put some thought into your financials. You know, what amount of thought do you spend thinking about your financials? We are going to do some streams like that in the future. I have to consider, you know, I will never give financial advice here, but if I come across a deal that could help Canadians or see, I don't know much about American financials except it's basically the same as Canada. There are a few things that are different, but actually America is turning your mortgages and things are almost the same as Canadians. You still have some really long-term mortgages. I'd love to hear from somebody in the States what the average or what's like the most you can take out a mortgage for in America. How many years? Because I believe you guys have longer mortgage durations. And I'm just curious about America in that sense. I don't know everything. I know a little bit about each thing that's the same, revolving loans and credit cards are basically identical, and it's there's basically not really revolving credit card. You basically have two ways to pay for a credit card. Um, or no, a loan. A loan. Credit card is always the same way. A loan. And then the other is car payments. You can do car payment a couple different ways. I think up to 3 different, or 4 if you count paying in cash in full. That's a form of payment, right? You're just paying in full payment. So it's 4. That doesn't differ in Canada or States. It's better to do it in cash, same as in Canada. I think where you guys in America differ big time is only with mortgages, and then there is your gold. I think you have not paper money, but you have yeah, it's kind of like this piece of it's as good as money. I forget what it's called. Anyway, you Americans know what that's. Some of you anyway. If you're older, you for sure know the term. If you're like 16 or 25, you probably do not have a clue what that name is. It's like Confederate money or something, or it's back in Confederacy or something, but it's been standing all these years, like it still counts as real cash. It's a piece of paper. I think it's usury or something. I could be wrong. Usury? Is that the term? Anyway, we'll look up this stuff later. I don't have a cell phone to look up stuff on anymore. I'm using it as a streaming phone right now. It's got 24/7. I'm not doing it forever, but for like a week, I'm going to feature a bunch of stuff. And then we'll get that on. We'll put that up. There's some cool audio on there too. When my wife's not here, I unmute it. And I play certain games and it comes out kind of funny. It sounds funny. Sometimes I'll walk by, I'll cut one, I'll unmute it, I'll cut one, and then I'll mute it. So it'll be like count the farts, like Easter eggs, they're just poked in there and it's like 400 hours. So it's gonna be pretty funny. I don't want to get into too many details, but I've made a challenge to the stream, to the people who watch the stream the most, to see if you can count all the farts, as well as a few other things I did. Made some funny faces, a couple gestures. I may not have shaved my head, and that may show up in there. I have to edit that in, but I have a clip of me before and after with hair and then without. So I clipped another 5 or 10 second clip of out of a piece that I think it's only for members only right now, but it's gonna go to for everyone in a week. It took 2 weeks in channel member, and then it comes out and it goes into you guys, public. Public can see it. Everybody plus channel members. Still, obviously, right? This smoothie was good. I'm full. I ate it. It's 2:00. I've got to lose 5 pounds. 5 pounds by next week. And then the week after that, I might not lose any. Just stay the same. Maybe I'm going to work out my arms every day if I can. A little bit. Not too much. Just a little bit. Plus I do stuff, you know what I mean? But I got to include some weights now. Not happy about it, because I know I do enough without it, but it's like I have to gain even more muscle. It's crazy. It doesn't even make any sense, but it's like bottlenecking on your PC, right? It's when you have, your video card, no, your motherboard is so good, and you only have so much RAM. You know what I mean? Memory. I'm working with an 8 gig. I'm working with an 8 gig soldered. Hey, just a single 8 gig chip soldered. But Oh no, it's a one DIMM. It's only got one slot for RAM and it's soldered to the board, but Oh, Selena's funny. Shouts out to Selena, yo. Straight in the house. I'll see y'all on the next one. Come back.